number 704, once again for episode 142 of the 815 Exchange. And well, NFL draft coming this week, so we'll talk about that in a little bit in the roundup. But of course, we got NFL playoffs. I said NFL playoffs. NBA playoffs. NHL playoffs. Some things happening in combat sports. Y'all may have known about that Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight. Pretty big deal. And of course, we had the ending of the Champions League Quarterfinals. So yeah, plenty to talk about. And of course, Coachella Weekend 2. So plenty to talk about this week. And yeah, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as I always say, everything you're looking for can be found in the description, whether it's timestamps, you want to hear me talk about the entertainment segments, you want to hear me talk about, the NBA playoffs, that's what you came here for, the main events. Feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are provided in the description, as well as all of my social media links. Trying to warm up here as my allergies are just been a terrible. So everybody else suffering from allergies, I feel you. I feel your pain. It's terrible. I hate it. Yeah, just pain. Alright, pain. You know who else is in pain? Combat sports, by the way. Straight to combat sports. You know who else is in pain? Ryan Garcia's liver, okay? King Ryan's liver is in pain. This fight went just about as we expected, alright? I think I said word for word almost exactly what happened. Even though he didn't get KO'd, he got TKO'd with, again, perfectly placed liver shot, which we'll get to. This fight was about what I expected. So if you expected me to come on here and slander Ryan Garcia and be like, oh, and throw up the meme I did for Jake and Nate back in the day, or it's not gonna happen. Alright, so I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm gonna get that out early. We're not going to really slander Ryan Garcia. So if you came for the jokes and for the meme, and it's not happening. It's not happening. Skip ahead. It's not happening. The fight went about what I expected. The only thing I think Tank didn't do right in this fight what I didn't like was the hugging. The hugging. When he was in trouble, the hugging. He honestly, if they'd have taken a point for those first, couple rounds where any type of flurry Ryan got, Tank just hugged. It was going for eventually a takedown. If they'd have taken, that'd have been fine if they'd have taken a point for that, honestly. That would have been out of line. That was the only bad thing he did. Otherwise, everything was crisp. Everything was up to par. He was countering very well. In fact, that's what really set off the fight and set it on its pace when he caught him with that straight left that is so deadly. Ryan got over-eager, lost the patience. You have to be patient against a great counterpuncher and someone with as much power as Tank. And he got over-eager, he got caught, he got dropped. I don't think it hurt him that bad. I think it just simply caught him. It was a good shot, caught him by surprise. He was back up, I think he was fine. But from that moment on, he lost some of that fire, some of that hesitancy. He became a lot more hesitant. And we saw him lose some of those rounds, following that. Before I think he got around back in the 6th, but then, of course, what happened in the 7th. But, overall, solid scrap. But what I expected. Tank is just a little bit better. Right now in their careers, Tank at 28, Ryan at 24. He's just a little bit better right now. He's on a different level right now. That's just how it is. You saw Ryan's potential. You saw the raw talent. You saw, he's even gotten better since the last time. But he just isn't there yet. He's amongst the elite, sure, but he just isn't. He's not the guy yet. He's not the guy yet. Maybe one day we'll see. Losses can make or break a fighter in boxing, right? And how you come from. They're going to happen. Very rarely do you see a fighter go undefeated, right? It doesn't really happen that often. So how you overcome and how you bounce back from losses is very, very important in this sport. And we will see. We'll see how Ryan Garcia comes back. Again, he had some success, but nothing substantial. Got to work on his footwork. He's just got to work on his footwork, work on his focus, just refine everything. Just got to refine everything, and we'll see. We'll see. Wouldn't be mad at a rematch a couple years from now, seeing where Garcia is at and where Tank is at. For Tank, next up should be probably the winner of Haiti versus Loma. I know a lot of people are calling for Shaq, but that is just, I don't know if Shaq's good news for anybody in that division right now. I do not, I don't know if any, I think Shaq might be the best of them all. I'm going to be completely honest in terms of just everything he brings to the table. I think he might be the best of them all, and he's a bigger opponent, which, not to Tank hasn't beaten bigger opponents as he did with Ryan, as he did with Raleigh, as he did with so on and so forth. But someone with the refinement and the skill while also being bigger like Shaq is, I think that could potentially cause some issues for Tank. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And again, liver shot. Like I said, we're not gonna slander Ryan Garcia. He didn't quit, so to speak. You get punched in the liver, and you tell me how you feel. You tell me when your body shuts down. You tell me if you can get up and go for another round or go for another exchange. You tell me. He took the knee to get a little breather, but then his body just said absolutely not. That's what happens when you get hit in the liver, right? It shuts you down. He got hit with his own move. He got hit with his own move. It's the same thing we've seen him do a million times. They literally had the body shot challenge based off of it. He got hit with his own move. He got stopped. That's the fight game. We'll see what happens. Congrats to Tank, though. Handle business as expected, And to finish off combat sports, we did have a UFC fight night. Sergey Pavlovich versus Curtis Blades. And Pavlovich, listen, we might need to have a conversation about Pavlo. I'm not gonna lie. Heavyweight was looking a little barren. I'm not gonna lie, it was looking a little barren. It's looking a lot less barren right now because Pavlo looking like a problem. 5 straight KOs. 5 straight KOs. That puts him, what, 3rd all time? Chuck, I know, has number 1, but what, 7 straight? But yeah, Pavlo on a 5-fight KO streak. Insane. Took out Blades, he's like the gatekeeper to the contenders at this point. He's a gatekeeper. I'm going to be completely honest. He's never going to win the championship, but he's got a reputable name where if somebody beats him, it's like, oh, he beat Curtis Blades. So that's what happened here. Round 1 just sparked him. Just sparked him. So we will see what happens, but we might have some new blood, a new contender rising at heavyweight, and Lord knows that this division needed it. But that was combat sports. Now let's talk some Champions League or soccer, should I say. Another thing in this, week's, roundup of sports that went about as expected. All right, nothing too crazy. Real Madrid, we knew this was done and dusted after, match day 1. 2-0. Rodrigo, clinical performance. The other Brazilian and not Vinny Jr. He takes the star spot and this gets the brace, gets the win 2-0. Chelsea, like I said, finished. They just gotta hope they don't fall into relegation at this point because they're down horrendous. I don't know where they fell off the cliff, but I mean they've just fallen off and there is no parachute right now. It is just bad. It is bad at Stamford Bridge. I don't know where it is. I don't know where this is for Chelsea, but it's just bad. Real Madrid, easy work, light work. Milano. I said Napoli getting Victor Osimhen would be very, very big. It would be very, very big in determining how this would go. And Osimhen did score. However, it was just absolutely too late. He scored in the 90th minute, and it wasn't enough as Giroud had already scored. Milan will take that draw all day after they won the first leg, and they get it done. AC Milan, for the first time since the 2000s, are going back to the Champions League semifinals. And yeah, Milano up good. We'll talk about their rival very, very soon and how they fared. But yeah, for now, AC Milan looking good. They advance. Man City and Bayern. Again, going down 3-0 to Man City is just, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Bayern got the draw. Kimmich got the penalty, tied it up, but it wasn't enough. All right, it was not enough. Tuchel's Bayern, they're going home. Done and dusted. Man City, like I said. But my prediction for the final is going to be woefully inaccurate, unfortunately. By the way, Haaland scored in this game because, listen, he's the machine. If you're reading this or you're listening to this, that means the machine has probably scored, okay? That's what he does. He did sky a penalty in this, so he really should have a brace, but nonetheless, it is what it is. But yes, I had Man City and Real Madrid in the final, but unfortunately, They got paired up for the semifinals, so really that might be the Champions League final right there. That's going to be very interesting, as I think that's probably the best two teams in the world currently. But who would AC Milan be playing? How about a Milano Derby in the Champions League semifinals, as the best game of the week ended up being Inter Milan and Benfica. They went shot for shot, 3 goals apiece. But after they got destroyed, Benfica got destroyed in leg 1. Once again, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Basically, for the first leg in the semifinals this year for the Champions League, set the tone the entire way. We ended up with 3 draws in the second leg, 1 definitive win, and just, it wasn't close. Not too much drama. We didn't have to worry about, home or away. We didn't have to worry about any of that. First leg set a tone. Those teams couldn't make up for it, and it ended like that. Inter Milan versus AC Milan, though. We got the Milan Derby in the semifinal. That's going to be interesting. The San Siro will be jumping. But yeah, a lot of historical significance in the semifinals. Certainly 2 of the best teams, and you know what? I can't fault AC Milan and Inter Milan for doing their thing so far in the Champions League. Going to be a very interesting semifinals, and of course, we'll talk about that here. Now, with that said, entertainment. Succession. What an interesting week in Succession. We're going over to Sweden. We're going over to Lucas Madsen's home field advantage. He's on the retreat. We're in Sweden, and he's got his crew, the kids, or as Greg joins them and is calling himself part of the quad squad, and the old guard all also arrive, and Alexander Skarsgård he's very good at playing a scumbag. He's just very, very good at playing a scumbag, because Madison is a scumbag. He's a scumbag. He's a very intelligent scumbag, but he's also a sociopath, all right? He's not a good person. But I don't know who is a good person on the show at this point. Very few of them. But again, this remains the best show on television yet again. Of course, we open up the episode reminiscent of the way we opened episode 1 of the entire series, which was Keanu Roy's back on his bull, and he's listening to rap in the car. He comes in, he's doing the whole Keanu's back thing, but that slowly crumbles as we go through the entire thing. I don't even know if it's kind of weird, because Roman's still falling apart, by the way, just a complete and utter mess. Ends up standing up to Madison, just ends up losing it at the end. But I don't know if they won, right? Shiv goes behind him because Shiv needed to get her lick back. All right, she's been taking mad L's recently. She needed to get her lick back. Madison has interested her in some type of way. Gave her this story about how his direct line, he sent a bag of blood to her, which is harassment. Anyways, they had a very, very strange conversation. She goes behind her brother's back because she's done getting shafted and gets the deal done for more money. So technically they won, but they were trying to tank the deal, Roman and Kendall, so they lost. It's a mess. It's a mess. As you would expect, after Logan died, Khan is still being Khan. Who else? The old guard got fired, some of them, but some of them stayed. Carolina, Gary, some, got to stay. Other of them received the severance packages from Lucas, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Tom and Shiv have this weird thing going on where they're insulting each other to flirt, and I can't tell if she hates this man or she wants him back. She is still keeping the baby, so I wonder if she's going to ever tell him that. I don't know. It's a mess right now, but it is a very, very instantaneous mess from the most dysfunctional family in American television right now. Succession's still the best show on television. We'll see what happens next week, but it's been pure chaos. I said I was going to give a review on Sremm for Life or Sremm Life 4. Here it is. All right, Rae Sremmurd, I listened to it. Finally. Is Rae Sremmurd back? Are they back? Reasonably so. I'm not saying they back. This wasn't like a classic or anything. But I'm going to give it an 8. My favorite number. I'm going to give this album an 8. It was good. It was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable album. They are certainly not washed. And they're certainly capable of still making some very high caliber music. Royal Flush feat. Thugger, Mississippi Slide, and Flaunted / Cheap were my favorites on the album. Just complete and utter top of the playlist material. They didn't have their misses. Did have some misses and some ones that were like, yeah. But again, Rae Sremmurd, they make great party music. They just make great party. They've mastered the art of club/party bangers. They have. That's their bag. Even after all these years, they still got it. Still reasonably young. I know we're talking about them like they're 40 years old, right? But they're really not that old. But they're reasonably back. I'm not saying they're back like prime Rae Sremmurd, but they're back. They still got some good stuff. The album was still enjoyable. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. You can let me know what you're feeling about it. Other things from music this week: Double Fantasy, The Weeknd, part of the Idol rollouts. I will be watching that. We'll be talking about that. Shout out to Lily Rose Depp. But he dropped a song called Double Fantasy feat. Future. That thing is gas. Oh my goodness, that song is immaculate. I think I like the OG version more than the radio version. He released 2 versions, of course. But I think I like the OG version better than the radio version. But the song is amazing. Alright, it's amazing. Gets stuck in my head like that. It's Bell at his best. Alright, it's Bell at his best. Future gave a solid verse. Double Fantasy. If you haven't for some reason listened to it, go bless your ears and do that. Speaking of The Weeknd, of course, he did open up Coachella this past weekend with Metro Boomin. We had Coachella Weekend too. And, even though Frank Ocean, I said it last week. I didn't think Frank was coming back for a weekend too. And he didn't come out. He didn't, okay? He dropped out, so Blink 182 got pushed to the headliner spot, but the real headliner was Skrillex, and I cannot remember the other 2, but TBA. They came through and had pretty much everybody at Coachella at that set, by the way. Apparently it was a very good set. So shout out to Skrillex, and I cannot remember the other 2. But they came in to save the day, essentially. Frank Ocean, as expected, dropped out. Listen, he is one of the greatest scam artists of our generation. Shout out to his PR team for coming up with that ankle excuse. But yes, Metro Boomin, another great set. Didn't bring out as many guests as week 1, but it was all good. Still played the hits. Offset came out this time, which was dope. He ended the set. The Weeknd, Future came through. And yeah, Metro had a great Coachella. Who else? Bad Bunny. Liked his set this weekend from weekend 2. Better than weekend 1. Felt like he was more in his elements. Brought out some nice guests. Played into Latin history. And yeah, it was just a great performance from Bunny. Or from Benito, should I say. Blackpink is still the revolution. Don't really need to say too much. You don't know what it is. Best in the game, biggest in the game. You don't know what it is. They're the revolution. They were in your area. Another legendary performance on weekend 2. Labyrinth brought out Zendaya. For the first time in 7 years, Zendaya hit the stage anywhere. So yeah, shout out to Lab. He got Zendaya to come out of the house and hold it down. Crowd went berserk for that. So yeah, shout out to Zendaya. She had a nice little performance. Shout out to Labyrinth. He had 2 great sets. Elite level guests, by the way. And yeah, Jackson held his own again in weekend 2. Dealt with a lot of mic issues, but again, he's a phenomenal dancer. And yeah, that's all I can really think about. I heard Willow Smith's set was also very good, and DPR's set was also very good. So yeah, shout out to everybody at Coachella. Hope everybody got home safe. And yeah, I know a lot of people are like, there wasn't too much hype about Coachella, but you know what? It was solid. We had some good sets. A lot of international diversity. You love to see it. It was a fun time in the desert. Festival season now commences. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we know what you're here for. NBA. All right, we know what you're here for. NBA playoffs. All right, main event time. Let's get it. We know what you are here for. This is why you clicked on this video. Besides maybe like Garcia tank, but I basically told you what was gonna happen last week with that, so no surprise. But you came for the NBA content. Let's get it. 76ers Brooklyn, okay? Game 4, business as usual. 76ers get the win 96-88 over the Nets and complete the sweep. No Embiid, all right? Embiid, this has been the week of superstar injuries or just star injuries in general, especially to the Heat. But we'll get to that when we talk about that. But yeah, we've had some of the biggest stars in the sport have been out. Some of the MVP candidates, 2 of the 3 MVP, finalists did not play this week. So yeah, even though the Sixers had no Embiid, did not matter. Tobias Harris, once again, 2 straight weeks of no Toby slander. How about that for Tobias Harris? Shout out to the man. 25 and 12 for Tobias. Melton had 15 off the bench. Their defense in Game 4 was top notch, so I got to give credit to Philly for that. They held Mikal Bridges 6 for 18, never really looked comfortable, and yeah, Nets, for all the praise I gave them, they were still just a pretty barren team. Again, 8th seed, 7th seed quality team that was kind of coasting, off of the fact that we had KD and, Kyrie at the beginning of the season. They were able to kind of run it up, top 3 seed at that point in time. Then we let them go. We were still good enough to kind of float into the playoffs, but the Sixers, like I said, levels to this. And it was really no contest. They get the sweep. The Clippers and the Suns are having a very entertaining series if you're a Suns fan. Not really if you're a Clippers fan, because who's the superstar this time? Well, we're talking about the Los Angeles Clippers, so it's very easy, right? Paul George is already out. So Kawhi Leonard, where are you? Kawhi, has anybody seen Kawhi? I don't even recall seeing him get injured. I don't even remember the point. I didn't even remember that getting reported. It just he was out one game, and then all of a sudden he's been gone. So I don't know what happened to Kawhi. I don't know if they need to recharge his batteries. I don't know what happened, but he's been ghost, and that's been pretty much ghost to any type of contention or quality this Clippers team had. The Suns get the win 112-100. CP3 put this game away with a circus shot. He had 19 points, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He was great defensively. KD is still KD, 31, 11, and 6. Devin Booker is still Devin Booker. He dropped 42, I think, in Game 3 as well. So, yeah, Book has been on his worst behavior. 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists for Book. Ian had a double-double, 10-13. He also had 2 steals, 2 blocks. So, yeah, complete team performance. This is the scary. This is when the Suns get scary, death lineup, who's beating this team in a 7-game series. That's the Suns we're getting right now. And it's against a very wounded Clippers team, but still nonetheless, this is the scariest iteration of the Phoenix Suns that we've seen up to this point. All right, they're dangerous. They are the championship favorite for a reason, and they are proving it right now. Now, we usually come on here, well, not always on here, but just out in the sports world, unfortunately. Russell Westbrook is probably one of the most disrespected Hall of Famers of all time. And when he doesn't play well, we get Westbrook, super inefficient. I talked about it last week. There will be no Russell Westbrook slander this week. Absolutely none. He has been putting this team with no PG, no Kawhi. He's been putting this Clippers team on his back. Unfortunately, it hasn't mattered because they're playing the Suns, but nonetheless, putting them on his back. He had 37 in this game. 37. 37 in Game 4. Back-to-back 30-point games, I think, as well for us. So he's playing great. He's playing great, but unfortunately, he has absolutely, positively no help. And the Clippers are pretty much dead in the water. I think Phoenix probably closes it out tonight and gets the win in Game 5 to just kind of close up the series. But they're up 3-1. We will see what happens, but I think Phoenix pretty much got that in the bag. Miami. Okay, let's go. Tyler Herro broke his hand. Victor Oladipo's knee snap. Miami is just chalking up the injuries, but fortunately for them, it does not matter because the biggest injury of them all belongs to the team they are playing. They beat the brakes off of Milwaukee to go up 2-1, 121-99. I mean, it is gruesome hours currently. Gruesome hours right now for the Bucks. No Giannis, no Greek Freak. That team is sinking. All right, they are sinking. They are lost. Okay, they have no hope right now. Chris Middleton is the number one. Is not going to go, even though he had 23 in this game. It's not going to work, and they are now down 2-1. They are potentially going to be put in the hole unless Giannis comes back tonight, which I don't know if he is. They could potentially go down 3-1 against Miami and have their back against the wall as the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed. They lost. That tells you about how valuable Giannis is to that team. Not that we needed, this to remind us, but just here's a reminder. How valuable, how much he means to this team. They have fallen off a cliff quality-wise. A cliff. I mean, they're getting outclassed by Miami, who's not even fully healthy. Jimmy Buckets, though, again, playoff Jimmy Buckets is always dangerous. One of the most dangerous people on the planet. He's got 30 in this game. Duncan Robinson had 20 points, 5 threes. When Duncan Robinson's going off in the playoffs, you're in trouble. All right, you're in trouble. When Duncan Robinson is going off in the playoffs, it's not good. It's not good. We'll see what happens, but yeah, Milwaukee's in a hole. They need Giannis back stat. The Lakers take out Memphis 111-101, and this really was not even that close. I'm going to be completely honest. This game was not that close. For the first 3 quarters of this game, before Ja went supernova in the 4th quarter, this game was not close. They were getting butchered. I think it was like 34-9 at one point in time. The Lakers, listen, Dylan Brooks was talking crazy. Was talking crazy after game 2. He was singing his own praises. I don't care about Bron. You just a normal man. So you knew the Lakers were going to get that leg back. And boy, did they get that leg back. Just completely evaporated until the 4th quarter. And then Ja Morant, after Dylan Brooks got ejected for hitting LeBron in the nuts, which was a whole other thing, Ja absolutely lost his mind. He scored 22 straight. He dropped 45, 9, and 13, but it didn't matter because his team was hot garbage in this game. So, a legendary performance for Ja, just kind of squandered by Memphis. AD, when he shows up, the Lakers are elite, okay? 31-17 for AD. Bron pretty much coasted in this game after getting his 20-piece. He had 26 and 9. Dylan Brooks, like I said, absolute clown. Clown of the week. If we had, that as like a segment, he would be clown of the week. Fucked around and found out. He fucked around and he found out. The Memphis Grizzlies as a whole fucked around and they found out. We will see how they answer tonight in Game 4. But boy, oh boy, might want to get it together. And less than a talk. That might work out better for you. The Knicks and the Cavs. Simultaneously, the most surprising, besides the Kings, we'll talk about the Kings a little bit later, but the most surprising team and probably the most disappointing team are in the same series. Jalen Brunson has made a world, I've said this before on here, but he has made a world of difference for this New York Knicks team, just for the entire season, but especially here in the playoffs. The Knicks with an actual point guard, someone that can actually play point guard, that's good, is night and day. It's night and day when you don't just have RJ or Julius just chucking at will. You have someone to control the game. It's night and day. I don't know how so many missed on Jalen Brunson, by the way. Borderline, I believe, 5-star prospect coming out of high school. He won a national championship at Villanova. He was National Player of the Year. But apparently that wasn't enough because he doesn't have all the flashy athleticism and all that type of stuff. He's just, a good player, and he went under the radar. But anyways, Brunson is that guy, all right? Worth every penny right now that the Knicks paid him. The man had 29, 6, and 6. DG, it was a solid point guard matchup, by the way. DG finished with 23 and 10 as well. Game went down to the wire. But Spider Mitchell going 5 for 18 is never going to be winnable for Cleveland. And now they are down 3-1 to the Knicks. This Cavs team that a lot of people were like, they're set up with the best future. They're the dark horse, potential, getting out of the Eastern Conference. They have been nothing short of a disappointment here in the playoffs. The great Evan Mobley, the best of the class, has been nowhere in sight. Jared Allen hasn't really been too much of a dominant force either. Playoff Spider made an appearance for 1 game, maybe 2, but, otherwise, he's shooting 5 for 18. Looking more like RJ than RJ at sometimes. DG, the PG, showed up in this game, but hasn't been the guy all the way through. The Cavs have been a disappointment. They have been an utter disappointment here in the playoffs, and the Knicks have risen to the occasion. Simply put, Brunson and this Knicks team have risen to the occasion. Said, forget your dark horse. We do not care. We came to play, and we came to win. And now they sit on the cusp of advancing to the second round. Cavs, we'll see what happens. Back against the wall. Maybe they wake up. Maybe they don't. But you know what? Credit where credit's due. Shout out to Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. Golden State and Sacramento. Okay, this game went down literally to the last couple seconds. All right, Steph had simultaneously an all-time, had one of his worst moments, and then followed it up with a great moment. Okay? He pulled a Chris Webber, forgot they had no timeouts, called a timeout, gave the ball back to the Kings with the game on the line. But then, backed it up by playing lockdown defense on De'Aaron Fox and preventing them from getting a shot off. So, you know what? Redemption. Redemption for Chef. It would have been a shame for him to squander his own 30-piece. He had 32 in this game. Clay had 26. Poole had 22. All right, when the three Musketeers go off like that, you're gonna be very hard pressed to beat Golden State. But they got it back. All right, after they lost the first two at home, they came back, went into Sacramento. They were able to win road games, and they tied up the series here. But yeah, Chef came up clutch after the most anti-clutch moment. De'Aaron Fox continues to be an absolute monster, though. Don't get it messed up. 38, 9, and 5 in this game for him. Keegan Murray had 23 points and 7 rebounds. But yeah, Curry, no timeouts. You got to remember that as a high-level player. Fortunately, he was able to bail himself out, but that was a close one in what has been the best series of the playoffs. I don't know who else would have predicted this. I'm sure somebody is out there, and credit to you, but I certainly did not predict this to be the best series of the entire first round. But here we are. It's been the most entertaining, the best, some of the highest level basketball. So, yeah, pretty much must watch at this point. Kings and Warriors looking like they might go to 7. Celtics and the Hawks are not going to 7 games. In fact, Boston probably closes this out on Tuesday. Boston gets the win in this game, 129-121, especially since DeJounte Murray lost his mind. I mean, he has been feeling himself since he got sent out of San Antonio. Now, I don't know if he was like this with, the Spurs, and we just didn't know because he was playing for the Spurs and they sucked, or what it is, but DeJounte Murray has lost his mind. Okay, he lost his mind in this game, bumping a ref. That's always going to be a suspension. So, yeah, bye-bye and probably bye-bye to the Hawks, especially with JT and JB playing the way they are. Both of them had a, 30-piece? Robert Williams goes 13 for 15. Trae had 35 and 15. You had the ultimate Trae Young game, but it ultimately didn't matter because they just could not stop JT and they could not stop JB. Couldn't stop them. This is why they play together. This is why you keep them together. Because when they're firing all cylinders, the Celtics are this good. Especially when you get the help from the bench, like Robert Williams off the bench, like with Marcus Smart, like with all the other role players. When they're firing like this, the Celtics are a very dangerous team, and the Hawks got the brunt of that. DeJounte Murray getting 23 points. Hell, DeAndre Hunter getting 27. And then Trae having the most Trae game possible. You're thinking you're walking out of there with a win, but nope. 3-1. Celtics, full control of the series, looking like they're going to close it out, like I said, on Tuesday, especially with no DeJounte Murray for the Hawks. We will see what happens, but the Celtics are looking very, very, very good. The Minnesota Timberwolves avoid the sweep. Barely, all right, and they choked, because this game really showed out to overtime, but they let the Nuggets score 11 unanswered and let them get back in this game. But nonetheless, they were able to survive. Jokic dropped 40. Okay, yeah, 43, 11, and 6. He was him. Up until he pretty much ran out of gas and the Nuggets team ran out of gas in that overtime period, he was that guy. But unfortunately, like I said, it was not enough because Anthony Edwards finally shows up. Finally shows up big time. After we had to slander him 2 weeks ago, after, I show up in the big moments and then he froze against the Lakers, he showed up big time. He was the superstar that the Timberwolves need him to be in this game. Closed it out with a big 3 to put the game away. He was the guy. He had 34, 6 and 5, 5 threes to go along with that. Rudy Gobert had 14 and 15. Towns had 17 and 11. Conley also had 19. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray had again, 8 for 20 is the Jamal Murray stat line. It is the Jamal Murray stat line. 20 shots, single-digit makes. Probably under 20 points, but pretty close, like 17, 18, 19 in this game. It's the ultimate Jamal Murray stat line, but that's not winnable basketball for the Nuggets. It's not. That's not going to get them anywhere. It's not going to win them a championship. So we will see. But that's going to be the determinant. Even though they've been fine up to this point, they were up 3-1, but again, Murray cannot have games like that. If the Nuggets want to be taken seriously, cannot have games like that, especially as the number 1 seed. Nonetheless, they're still up 3-1, still in a great position to close this thing out. And this was a very close game, like I said, went to overtime. Not the end of the world, Joker at 40, but the Timberwolves responded. They responded. That's the only thing you can really ask for. We'll see what they can do with their newfound hope. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And of course, that's bringing us to motorsport, as we always start the Roundup with. Bubba had it. He had it. Honestly, I'd rather him not even blocked on that last lap. Would have blocked Blaney, just let Blaney take the outside, and then the both of y'all go at it to see who wins this, and make KB try to make a move instead of KB just getting to sit back and collect his third win by winning at Talladega because y'all took each other out. I'd rather him do that, all right? And you got the points because you still probably got like second or third instead of 28th or wherever you finished because you wrecked out. Listen, had it in the bag, had it in the bag, had it in the bag. So close, but so far. But yeah, shout out to KB. It's been a great time for him at Richard Childress. What can I say? It's been a great time for him. He gets to win at Dega. NFL draft is this week. Who's going number one? All signs seem to point towards Bryce coming here, coming to Charlotte. I would like to see it. The second pick is a lot more up in arms. I've seen Will Levis take the lead, which, oh boy, Texans, if you want to do that, go right ahead. All right? I know I've slandered C.J. Stroud or said he's not that guy, but do not pick Will Levis over C.J. Stroud. Please just pick C.J. Stroud and do not overthink this. Do not overthink this. We will stop things there, but yeah, quarterback shuffle is going to be very interesting. Where's Hinton going to go? Where's AR-15 going to go? Excuse me, just AR. Where are the quarterbacks going to go? Because that's going to determine, I think, a lot of how the flow of this draft goes, especially in this first round. But yeah, it's a good draft. I think there's a lot of talent to go by. Going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And of course, we'll talk about that next week and maybe a little bit later in the weekend on TikTok. But yeah, NHL. I want to do a full NHL set. I was going to do it, but I had too much to talk about this week. So yeah, hopefully, ideally, a full NHL playoff segment coming next week. But Canes and Boston are pretty much business as usual, even with the Canes, half the team being injured. Business as usual against the Islanders, and yeah, Boston taking control of that Florida series. So they're looking fine. The most interesting thing that happened, though, besides the Oilers somehow not squandering it against the Kings, was actually the first ever fight between two 60-goal scorers via Steven Stamkos sneaking Austin Matthews, even though Austin was trying to clean up sticks. So it was a little bit of I'm not going to lie, it was kind of a scumbag move from Stamkos, but you know what? It is what it is because Toronto won the game in overtime anyway, so they got it back in blood. But yeah, had pretty much a line brawl, and then Stamkos went and found Matthews. So yeah, two 60-goal scorers, two probably future Hall of Famers going at it there in, the hockey playoffs. But yeah, probably, hopefully more NHL next week. But for now, episode 142 of the show. Signing off.